Hey YouTube, my name is Natalie. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and today's video is what I'm going to be calling a live stream brief. On Wednesday, I had a lovely live stream that featured Nate the lawyer, Rob from Law and Lumber, and Bree from Boss Attorney Bree, as well as Artie from Artie's Corporate Fiction. And we discussed the prior inconsistent statements of Amber Heard, meaning that she had previously testified via written statement and live testimony against NBN, which is a UK publication, where Johnny Depp sued NBN. And in 2019 and 2020, Ms. Heard provided both written and live testimony. Now, in 2022, Ms. Heard is embroiled in a lawsuit in which she is the defendant, where Johnny Depp is suing her for defamation based on a Washington Post article that she authored in 2018, where she did not mention Johnny Depp, but implied that she was the victim of both and physical abuse at his hands. I looked through day one of her testimony and compared that to those prior written statements. We went through this in the live stream, and I discovered that there were several things that Ms. Heard said that either contradicted her previous testimony, elaborated fantastically from her previous testimony, or was just materially different from her previous testimony. Because that live stream was 2.5 hours long, it might be a little daunting to the average person to sit down and watch a 2.5 hour live stream that happened a few days ago. Not everyone is into that long form content, and I thank my subscribers who are. But because I thought that this issue was important, given the popularity of the Depp v. Heard case, I thought I would make a case brief of that live stream, and where I explain to you in a summarized detail about the conclusion of the live stream, which was that Amber Heard had in fact elaborated on, omitted from, or contradicted her previous testimony. And now a word from our sponsor, Atlas VPN. As you'll recall in the last video in which I mentioned Atlas VPN, I traveled to Chicago last year and used a public Wi-Fi network. And after that, all of my passwords were compromised. That's because on a public network, your data is not secure. Atlas VPN can help you with that. And actually, them reaching out to us came right on time, because as soon as I started using Atlas VPN, my passwords have never been compromised again. We're all venturing back outside. For me, myself, I am doing a lot of work from Starbucks and Panera Bread and just public places, just so I can get out and be outside instead of in my office all the time. When you're outside using public Wi-Fi networks, you do run the risk of your data being compromised. So you have to do best practices when it comes to protecting your data. That includes using different passwords and changing your passwords. And that also includes using a VPN. Atlas VPN is a virtual private network that makes all of your internet traffic travel through an encrypted tunnel. This way it protects you from spying, public Wi-Fi dangers, and hides your IP address. Right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount, which means that you can get a 3-year subscription for $1.99 per month with a money-back guarantee. Click the link to lock in your 3-year subscription for $1.99 per month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, let's get back to our video. So first, why is this important in any trial? In a civil case, after the jury has heard all of the evidence, they are instructed by the judge as to the law. These instructions are called jury instructions. This is what a jury will be instructed in the Depp v. Heard case as to what they should consider when deciding whether or not each of the witnesses is credible. Instruction number 2.020 of the Model Jury Instructions of the State of Virginia for civil cases. Credibility of witnesses. You are the judges of the facts, the credibility of the witnesses, and the weight of the evidence. You may consider the appearance and manner of the witnesses on the stand, their intelligence, their opportunity for knowing the truth, and for having observed the things about which was testified, their interest in the outcome of the case, their bias, and, if any have been shown, their prior inconsistent statements, or whether they have knowingly testified untruthfully as to any material fact in the case. You may not arbitrarily disregard the testimony of a witness. However, after you have considered all the evidence in the case, then you may accept or discard all or part of the testimony of a witness as you think proper. You are entitled to use your common sense in judging any testimony. From these things and all other circumstances of the case, you may determine which witnesses are more believable and weigh their testimony accordingly. So this is what the jury will be instructed on when evaluating both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's testimony. And that is why it is important to see whether there were any prior inconsistent statements. Whether the jury will know about the prior inconsistent statements, it is up to the plaintiff's counsel to bring up those prior inconsistent statements in cross-examination, and cross-examination has not happened yet. However, I can guarantee you that I'm 99% sure that plaintiff's counsel will be bringing up these prior inconsistent statements. So these are what the prior inconsistent statements are. I'm going to kind of go in reverse order here. I'm going to start first with what she testified to in Virginia versus what she said or didn't say in the United Kingdom. At the 47-minute mark of day one of Amber Heard's testimony, she portrayed to the jury a horse story in which Johnny Depp pursued her prior to them being in a committed relationship and tried to woo her by buying her a horse which she did not want. She didn't want anything to do with this horse, but he insisted and used her father in order to get the horse to her. This never came up in either her live testimony or her written statements that were accepted as testimony in the UK. There are 7 written statements, and this horse story does not come up anywhere in the testimony. At the 21-minute mark of her testimony, Amber Heard details how Johnny Depp initially came onto her by using his boot to lift the back of her robe, pushing her down onto the bed and saying the word "yum" to her. This came across, in my opinion, as quite predatory in his pursuit of her, as she was working on his movie Rum Diary at the time. He is twice her age, and at the time she was a very new and unknown actress to Hollywood. However, in the 7 written statements, which were accepted as testimony, and the live testimony, Amber Heard never mentions that Johnny Depp pushed her down on the bed or lifted up the back of her robe with his boot and said the word "yum" when he pushed her down on the bed. This never comes up in any of the multiple pages of testimony or live testimony. At the 43-minute and 45-second mark of her live testimony, here we're talking about Virginia again, 43 minutes and 45 seconds of her live testimony in the state of Virginia in the trial that is currently going on. Ms. Heard stated many times that Johnny Depp was ingratiating himself to her family, buying her parents gifts, and basically taking in her dad. That he would speak with a Southern accent when speaking to her dad, and basically trying his best to get her family on his side. In the many pages of her written testimony, as well as her in-person testimony in 2019 and 2020 in the United Kingdom, Amber Heard never mentions this. This story never comes up. To opposing counsel, and I can tell you this myself as an attorney, adding additional stories or behaviors of the opposing party can be seen as an elaboration, meaning that this person is adding on to their story over time. We as attorneys will argue to the jury that a witness's memory is better closer to the time of the event versus farther from the event. So if the further you get away from an event, the abuse, the manipulation, and the alleged grooming, and the more stories you add, we will argue to the jury that these stories are made up, that they're not real, because if they actually happened, you would have remembered them closer to the event. Opposing party would say these events were not relevant to that trial. They were relevant to the trial, but they would say that they weren't relevant to the trial, or that they don't show deception, but simply that as time has gone on, she started to recover more memories because she suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, which caused her to have some type of memory loss. This is certainly what the defense put on their mental health expert to say, that defects in Amber Heard's memory are as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder that she has suffered as a result of this lawsuit and the abuse from Johnny Depp. Now we're going to move into the next section of the inconsistencies, and these are actual prior inconsistent statements. These are stories that are being told in both instances, but the way in which they are told is different. On December 15th of 2019, in her written testimony, Amber Heard provides her description of the first time that Johnny Depp hits her, and it differs from the Virginia testimony in several key aspects. In the Virginia live testimony, Amber Heard says that after the second slap, she lost her balance. In the December 15, 2019 testimony, she says that after the third slap, she lost her balance. In Amber Heard's live testimony, she said that when Johnny Depp hit her the third time, it didn't even hurt, that it was not painful. However, in her written testimony in the UK on December 15th of 2019, Ms. Heard stated, and this was under oath testimony, Ms. Heard stated that when he hit her the third time, it felt like her eye popped out, which would indicate pain. Instead, when she testified live, she stated that she did not feel any pain. At the 1 hour and 4 minute mark, Ms. Heard testifies that after the initial slap, she walks out and Johnny Depp proceeds to call and text her, states that I would rather cut off my hand than to hurt you, and comes over with a case of Vega Sicilia wine. However, in her written testimony over the 7 statements, as well as her live testimony and cross-examination in the United Kingdom, Amber Heard never says that after this initial slap, Johnny Depp calls and texts her, says that he would rather cut off his hand than to hurt her, brings over a case of Vega Sicilia wine, or comes to her house and begs for her to take him back. This is an elaboration, meaning that she has added on details that, although given multiple chances to testify to, she has not testified to before. At the 1 hour, 47 minute, and 20 second mark, Amber Heard begins to testify in Virginia as to what is called the painting incident in March of 2013. In this testimony, she details how Johnny Depp came to her home, was upset that she had a painting hanging up in her hallway leading from her bedroom that was painted by her ex-domestic partner, who is a woman, that he took the painting down from the wall and attempted to light it on fire with a Bic lighter, that he did not have the ability to light it on fire with the Bic lighter, he was unable, and that he then left the house, and that he was in a drug-filled rage during that period of time, and that it was a stupid argument. However, in December of 2019, in her written testimonies and written statements, as well as her live testimony in 2020 in the United Kingdom, Ms. Heard's testimony differed in several key respects. As to the painting incident, she stated, at one point, he tried to set the painting on fire with his lighter. I had to physically stop him from trying to light it up. He hit me in the face with the back of his hand and drew blood, some of which ended up on the wall. He had silver rings on. He always wore rings, and I think those might have been what drew the blood. I walked straight out of the room. I wanted him to be sorry and snap out of it. At the 1 hour, 53 minute timestamp of Ms. Heard's live testimony in the state of Virginia for the current trial in which Johnny Depp is suing her, so 2022, Ms. Heard testified as to an incident in which Johnny Depp suspected that she was having an affair with a friend of hers who does not speak English. This argument occurred in Johnny Depp's apartment, one of his penthouse apartments, and he became enraged with her, smacked her in the face, and she stated that a little bit of blood got on the wall. She stated that this was a small incident and that she didn't even really remember it because she's tough. However, if you look to her 2019 testimony, in which she makes written statements that are taken as testimony, as well as testifies under oath live in court, this incident is never mentioned, meaning that the incident in which she says she went to his home and he slapped her and blood sprayed on the wall over an argument over a friend of hers that doesn't speak English, that's never ever mentioned in the UK trial. This incident is conflated with the painting incident, meaning that in the painting incident, she says that Johnny Depp slaps her, he has a lot of rings on his fingers, this draws blood, and the blood sprays on the wall. She never mentions that a separate incident occurred. So to make the timeline clear, in 2019, Amber Heard testifies via written statement and live testimony that in March of 2013, Johnny Depp came to her apartment in a drug-fueled rage. He was jealous over her former relationship with her former spouse. He sees the painting that's made by her former spouse up on her wall in her hallway. He takes it down. He attempts to light it on fire. She tries to stop him from lighting it on fire. She gets in the way. They struggle over it. He slaps her in the face. He has many rings on his finger. And when he does so, it draws blood, and some of the blood ended up on the wall. She believed it was the rings which drew that blood. She walked straight out of the room and she wanted him to be sorry and snap out of it. Fast forward to 2022, Ms. Heard is under oath and testifying live before a jury in Virginia. She testifies at the 1 hour and 45-minute mark that Johnny Depp becomes enraged at her prior relationship, comes into her house, takes down the painting, attempts to set it on fire, and is unable to. The argument goes into the next day, but she does not detail any moment during this argument in which he slaps her. Then at the 1 hour and 53-minute mark, she testifies that they are at his apartment during a separate incident. He is upset and in a jealous rage over a friend of hers who does not speak English. He is fueled by drugs. He slaps her across the face, drawing blood, and the blood sprays on the wall. These are many inconsistencies. Moving on, at the 1 hour and 45-minute mark in her Virginia testimony, Ms. Heard testifies about sending a photo to her dad in order to celebrate her dad's sobriety of the both of them, her and Johnny Depp, holding up shot glasses with liquor in them. This is never mentioned in any of her testimony in the UK trial, either in person live or in her written sworn statements. At the 1 hour and 56-minute mark in 2022, Ms. Heard testifies that Johnny Depp held her down on the ground and slapped her multiple times, that this happened over a vase. A vase was thrown. There was an argument over this vase, and he held her down and slapped her several times. She took a picture of a bruise on the side of her arm and sent it to her mother on March 23rd of 2013. In the 2019 and 2020 written statements and live testimony in the UK trial, this incident is never mentioned, nor is this photograph ever mentioned. Ms. Heard is still testifying, so next week the rest of her testimony will resume, and I'm going to assume that either her attorneys are going to clean up her testimony or she's going to get hammered on this in cross-examination. There may be more inconsistent statements, or maybe this is the end of the inconsistent statements, but stay tuned to this channel because I will be evaluating each of the witnesses' testimonies to see how they differ between when they testified previously, either live or in depositions, and how they're testifying now in the Virginia trial that's currently occurring. I would like to know what you guys think about these prior inconsistent statements and the importance of them. Do you think that it matters? Do you think that this is just a trauma response, or do you think that it's indicative of deceptiveness? I look forward to your comments, and I'll see you later. Bye.